Hey, friends, welcome back to the podcast. Today is another guest episode, and I am going to add a little testosterone into the mix today because I get to talk to Dr. Dave Jones. He is actually only the second male guest that I've ever had on the podcast in the 2.5 years that we've been going. And it's a fascinating conversation because we align on so much of the marketing and things that he does. After competing in professional hockey across Europe, how fun is that? Dave founded M is Good in 2001, and he developed the innovative R7 process, which we will talk about in the podcast, that helps leaders effectively communicate their vision. So it is a great conversation on marketing and all the things. And without further ado, let's dive in. This is the only second time in our history of this podcast that I have a guest on that is not a female.
Okay. I feel
So
honored. That's awesome.
yes. I read your bio and I'm like, okay, yes, he needs to be on the podcast. So today I'm having a conversation with Dr. Dave, and we're going to talk all things marketing.
Mm.
And I think it's going to be a really unique conversation because of the perspective that he brings. So why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us all about you and how you got where you are, because it's a very interesting story.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. Super excited to be here. Where do I begin? I grew up in Northwest Pennsylvania. I was, my oldest brother got attention in the wrong ways,
Hmm.
and so I just really gravitated towards sports. And so I got attention through scoring goals. And so I just kind of figured out how to score more goals. And so that journey took me to Ottawa, took me to Cleveland, took me to Germany. And it took me to a place where my identity was really, I tell people, like, after I left hockey, I felt like I was on a curb in a city I'd never been in. My identity was wrecked.
Yeah.
And I found myself at the lowest point mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually. I was exhausted, and I just didn't like who I was. And I really turned to God, and just understanding, like, with the way I was doing things, Jan, wasn't working, and I needed something else. And so I just asked the Lord, "What do you want to do with my life? Because this isn't working." And you know what's interesting of that? What really came back was I really wanted to be used by the Lord. And what came back is you're not usable.
Wow.
Yeah. And so
So,
this began a transformational journey of, so I was really fortunate to bump into somebody who was a Christian mentor. And he said, if you don't like who you are, read these 30 books. And at the time, we didn't have social media. This is back in 1998 in
yeah.
Greenville, North Carolina. So social media wasn't really prevalent. TV, watching TV 4 to 6 hours a day was. And so I turned off the TV for 2 years, and
Wow.
I just invested in myself. Ended up starting a pretty big, and it started a Christian advertising agency that's grown to be one of the top Christian ad agencies in the world. And here we are. That was a long answer to your question. I'm so sorry.
No, don't ever apologize.
Uh,
Story is important. I think everybody has a story, and I think we undervalue the journey that it takes to get from point A to point B for God to get us where we need to be in order for Him to use us for the purpose that He has for us right now. And so I think that's beautiful. I identify with that so much because I also had a sibling that got attention for the wrong reasons, and it definitely shaped how I showed up in the world because of that. So I totally understand that. So talk to me about why a marketing agency.
I really don't know,
Okay.
honestly.
I mean, good
I
answer.
I was a hockey player and I asked the Lord to use me, and He immediately gave me the words. It wasn't an audible voice, it was just kind of like the words marketing ministries.
Okay.
And I thought, wow, that's a really dumb name. And so I went and got a lawyer, and the lawyer said the name was available and I could register it and trademark it.
Okay.
And so I did, and the journey began. I had a list of 30 clients on the in front of me. I don't know why I didn't see it before, but those 30 clients on the station were churches and ministries. This was in like um, June of 2001. I
Mhm.
went to those 30 clients. I said, "Hey, I'm going to start a Christian ad agency," and they said, "We're with you."
Okay.
I incorporated the company in November of 2001. Actually left in January the TV station I was working for, went back to those 30 clients, and I said, "Hey, I started this agency. You said you were with me," and they're like, "What? No,
Oh, no.
we're not with you." Um, and so out of those 33 who are still with me today, came with me. That first year was awful. I think our total revenue was $15,000 that first year, and we made a commission off that 15,000, so that's like $1,700 for the year.
Sure.
Second year was awful. Third year was awful. Fourth year, it got better. Fifth year got better, and I never looked back after that.
Okay. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's, I I think everybody that has started a business is shaking their head and understanding that that's kinda how it goes.
Yeah.
Very rarely, do I hear stories of it not stinking the first year.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, you work primarily with Christian organizations, is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah.
So tell me, I know that that you guys really talk about aligning strategy with purpose.
hmm
And that's important no matter what kind of business you have or organization you run, right? So talk to me about how you come to clients and help them define how to do that because it's not always evident.
Yeah. So, what typically happens, we own the search term Christian marketing. So we got a lot of leads, the Google keywords, Christian
Mhm.
marketing. So a lot
Mhm.
of our leads come in from around the world, 2 to 3 a week kind of thing. And usually it comes in the form of, "Hey, I need a new website," or, "Hey, our digital marketing isn't working," or, "We need help with that, with the digital marketing." And so
Mhm.
really they just fall into this R7 process, that really is like, okay, what's the destiny? The destiny should be to glorify the Lord with our talents and our abilities. That really gets filtered out because we're a Christian marketing company, so people
Sure, sure.
obviously assume that.
Yeah,
And then the vision, is really kind of where we start next. So what is the vision? And then the strategy and the brand. How are we communicating it? And then are we praying or thinking about steps 1 through 5? And then step 7, take action. So
that's great.
that's the R7 process. I went over that pretty fast, but and we can slow that down if you'd like. But it really starts there because when you're talking about the communication side of it, whether it's a deliverable through your digital marketing or your website or your email, it really kind of comes back to what's the strategy and the vision.
Right.
So the click rate, the the bounce rate on the website, all that is reflective on who are you talking to and what are you saying. So
Mhm.
that's really messaging and vision.
Yeah, that's good. So let's dig into the R7 a little
Yeah.
bit more because I think that's important for people to understand that there's a flow to this. We
hmm
have a tendency to skip around to the parts that we like and ignore the
hmm
parts that we don't like. I
Yeah.
think that's something that we need to get over. And so yeah, dig into your strategy a little bit more.
So I just really the first 10 years was as marketing ministries, now M is good, was really around website and video production. And I learned really fast that if we're not getting the messaging right, that's not resonating with the
Mhm.
persona we're trying to reach, it's a miss. And so now that legacy media is dying, so this is your television, your radio, newspaper doesn't even exist anymore, direct mail, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
It before you would just send it out and see what happens, but now we're able to A/B test and we're able to see what works and what doesn't fairly quickly and pivot. And so when we're talking about the process of understanding your messaging, it comes in critically important of who you're
Right.
trying to reach. And so that's where we really take time and vision. So I'm going to say this fast and we can put up some documentation on, later on, but Vision's gotta be short, portable, easy to understand, memorable, inspiring statement. And it
Mhm.
really starts there. That's the why. And then the mission. The mission are the steps to the vision. And then we build a strategy around that.
Yeah,
And so
that's
that's
great.
super important first.
Mhm.
And, that slows you down purposefully.
Right.
Cause, like you were saying earlier, Jen, like you just want to get to the website, just update my website.
Right.
We can update it, but what are we going to say?
Mhm.
And we can update your ads, but what are we going to say that's going to compel your donor, your first time guest, your the evangelical Christian you're trying to, reach? What is going to motivate them?
Right.
And so that's where we spend a lot of time.
Yeah. That's really good. So, I know in business world,
Yeah.
I am seeing I wouldn't say a mass exodus, but a mass, tiring
Mm,
of social media. Are you
yeah.
seeing that in, like, the nonprofit and organization world as well, that people are just exhausted by it?
Well, yes, and here's why. Here's why they're exhausted by it. Now, I'm a hockey guy. Okay, so we'll just use that as an example. Like I love
Okay.
hockey. Before, like say 10 years ago, I
Mhm.
had to watch ESPN and wait for the hockey segment,
Yeah.
which was kind of annoying. But now, because digital media is so pointed and so the algorithm is really giving you what you want,
Mhm.
you have to give your persona, the person you're trying to reach, what they want. So the reason that it's tiring is because the audience, the organization who's trying to reach you is pushing the wrong. I'm gonna say the wrong. They're not pushing the most specific information that you're interested in. So for
Mm.
me, an organization to reach me, talk hockey or talk golf,
Yeah.
right? But if you want to talk soccer and baseball and basketball, I'm moderately interested. But if you have a new technique or a new drill or a new insight about hockey, I'm all ears and I want to watch that. So it's not that we're tired of it, it's we're tired of companies not creating a VIP experience to reach
Mm.
people that care about what you're trying to reach them for.
Yeah. So, I assume that you guys really work hand in hand with your clients to make that happen. Is that all through, like, digging into ideal client avatars? Like,
Mhm.
what's the process there?
Yeah, so we build an avatar, it's spot on. It's pretty detailed,
Mhm.
but from there we have to A/B test messaging. So you've got to have a little bit of a runway up front, a little bit of patience and a runway
Yeah.
financially, to kind of work through that process. But once we do and we stick with it, it works.
Yeah.
So this is where a lot of ministries don't have enough budget to to get through that. They have to make it work now. And we
Mhm.
don't work well with we need to make it work now, or we have a 3-month runway and our money's out, or
Right,
everything
yeah.
rides on you, Dave and Emma's good team to figure this out. Hurry up, hurry, hurry up. We just don't work well on that.
Yeah, yeah, I can understand that. So, talk to me about, ROI tracking. I
Hmm.
know that that's something that you guys really prioritize, and nobody wants to be wasting time, effort, and money.
Right.
But I know from experience with my own clients, they also don't tend to wanna look at the numbers
Hmm.
and the data and to see what's actually working, what's not working. And so they're, throwing spaghetti up on the wall. So
Yeah.
talk to me about your ROI tracking, kind of what you value over other things and why you think it's important overall.
Yeah. Great question. So we wouldn't call it ROI. We would call it KPI management or
Okay.
key performance indicators.
Mhm.
So ROI is part of those KPIs.
'Kay.
So what I'm really focused on, big picture, is top, middle, bottom of the funnel.
Okay. Yeah.
So the top of the funnel, these are ads that are compelling. They're interesting. They get you to click, clickbaity,
Mhm.
fun, exciting. In the ministry world, it's hard to do that because we want to say, "Hi, I'm Pastor Jones,
Right.
and we have a church service,
Yeah.
and our church service is amazing, and come to visit us on Sundays at 9 and 11 a.m. And you're gonna, we're here to welcome you."
Mhm.
That's not working.
Right.
What is working is that top of the funnel ads where we see a Geico, which stands for Government Employee Insurance Company, but they use a gecko, a little lizard, to say
Yeah.
Geico, and then sometimes they use a pig in the back of a car and saying, "Hey, Miss Johnson," with the pinwheel, wee wee wee. It's
Yeah.
got to be fun top of the funnel. So in that KPIs, we're looking at how many people are going to the website, how long are they staying on the website, what do they do after they're on the site? Do they hurry up and leave?
Right.
So that's called a bounce rate. So top of the funnel has got to be something fun and compelling. Middle of the funnel is, them reading an email, opening an email. Bottom of the funnel is the conversion. So now they're on the site, they've got the product or their, donation in the cart and they actually convert. So top, middle, bottom of the funnel. And then on the bottom of the funnel, sometimes the customer, donor, client, whatever we're doing, isn't ideal. So
Mm.
we need feedback at the bottom of who's coming through and how much are they giving and could, and so if or are they signing up or are they not? And
Mhm.
so a lot of my days, I have 12 to 15 meetings a day. A lot of my days are looking at those KPIs and looking at the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel and seeing which metrics are healthy and which ones are not. And we have like in between metrics
Mhm.
to say, okay, this is healthy, this is not.
That's really good. So, if somebody doesn't have money in their business to hire a marketing
Hmm.
agency like yours, what are some really simple steps that you would suggest that they could take on their own to at least start the process to get to where they could hand it off to somebody that could do it for them?
Another great question, Jan. You came ready today. I love it. Um,
I try.
um, it's a really great question, and I would say that you've got to start somewhere, and it all starts with messaging.
Mhm.
And it all starts with what you can do. So we don't discriminate based on budget at M is good. Whatever budget we have, we're gonna take, we're gonna use as best we can.
Yeah.
But if it's really like I don't have any money, but the Lord gave me this vision, I would really push back and find people around you that can help you finance it.
Okay. That's a great
You
idea.
just need a budget. And you
Yeah.
gotta have some visionaries of people that are around you that believe in you, that are
Mhm.
willing to donate to your cause and your vision. And if they're not, I say this all the time and people don't like it, especially in the initial calls. If you have a big vision and no budget, right? The
Yeah.
Lord, to me, God is sovereign. So he's not going to give you that big vision without the people or the resources around you. You just got
Mhm.
to ask. And if you're getting pushback where people aren't giving and they're giving you the advice, then you got to rethink your messaging.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
resources are there. You
Yeah.
just have to
I
tap
believe that.
into them. Yeah.
Yeah. I also, I used to run a workshop on a quarterly basis, and one of the things that came up all the time was no money for marketing, no money for
Hmm.
ads, whatever, and I'm like, "Look, treat it like your household budget. If you bring XYZ dollars in, well, a certain percentage of that, you set it aside for your marketing, and then
Yeah.
when you have the pool, then you can give it to somebody and have the expert use it that I mean, somebody that has experience like you is gonna do a whole lot better with ads than somebody like me who's a hack trying to do it by myself. That would, in my opinion, not be a wise use of my own money. I would
Yeah.
rather have a larger budget that stays in a pool for a minute until it reaches the threshold, and I can hand it to somebody who actually knows what they're doing, so they're gonna get me farther down the road.
That's spot on. And here's another thing that's not popular. If you don't have the budget, wait till you do.
Yeah,
You just can't bring like I have this whole message on how the algorithm is built for you to spend.
I believe that.
We are in a space. Just real quick, I'll just go through this. In 1980, when Ronald Reagan gave his message to the American people. There's what's called a bounce rate.
Mhm.
That bounce rate was 30 days. So what that means is when he gave a message, that message would resonate with the American people for 30 days. The amount of gross impressions in 1980 we were being hit with was right around 600. 600 gross impressions.
Think I
There we go.
lost you.
Yeah. There we go.
There
I
you
take
are.
her back.
Yeah.
So so in 1980, Ronald Reagan gave a message. Bounce rate was 30 days. That means that that message would resonate with the American people for 30 days.
It's incredible.
The 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 gross impressions the average American is getting hit with around 600 a day.
Okay.
Okay. Fast forward to 2008, the bounce rate was 2 days with Obama, and the amount of impressions were around 9,000 a day. Fast
Wow.
forward, fast forward to 2026. Can you guess what the bounce rate is?
Oh, it's, I mean, huge.
Hours.
Yeah.
1 hour. 1 hour. We're going from 30 days to 1 hour. And the amount of impressions every day that's hitting the average American is up to 17,000 impressions a day.
Oh my word. No wonder
We
we're tired.
are distracted. We're
Yeah.
tired. We're ADD.
Yeah.
The TikTok algorithm serves you up the ads you want immediately after you flip to the next video.
Yeah.
It's instantaneous.
Yeah.
So for you to compete with no budget, it's just not going to happen. Your
Right.
story has to be so miraculous and so short and easy and portable and understandable that
Mhm.
it's so incredibly hard to get above the noise. It's
Yeah.
it's not that your product, your vision, your service isn't great. It's great. The I've been doing this for 26 years, 1 to 2 leads a week from around the world, sometimes 2 to 3 leads of people coming in, "What do you think of this idea?" And I always applaud the idea, always. It's not the idea.
Mhm.
It's that you gotta get above the noise.
Yeah.
That's the battle, man. And then,
Right.
we have the adversary that comes in and just wreaks havoc on our fear, our lust, our anger, and our pride. Those are real world, issues that we have to struggle with that are battling against us. So we
Yeah.
have that battle. We have this impression battle. It's not easy, man. And
No,
so
definitely not easy.
so the messaging is really has to be spot on to what your core persona is trying to do. Like for me, for instance, we talked about earlier is hockey. You want to speak
Mhm.
hockey? Speak hockey. Know your persona and what they want to hear and listen to and really um engage in.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. So what, I know this is really kind of a
Yeah.
sliding scale probably and hard to pinpoint, and so if this is not a okay question to
Yeah,
ask,
go
we can
for it. I
move
love
on.
it.
But, what would you say would be a minimum budget that a business could come to an agency and say, "Look, here's what I have. What can you work with this?" Like, if I'm saving for it, if I have to wrap my brain around how much money I'm gonna need in order to have a really good, baseline for advertising, what does
I
that
gave
look like?
this is my example I use over the years. We were doing I get this question a lot, by the way, but this is the best way I can frame it, give an answer to it. We were doing marketing for the Raleigh Rescue Mission in
Mhm.
Raleigh, North Carolina, and he asked the same question, "How much?" And I said, "Well, how much are you doing now?" And he said, "0." And I
Right.
said, "Well, any amount north of that is better than 0.
That is very true.
You gotta start somewhere." Um, and that's the answer. You
Okay.
gotta start somewhere. And I would say this too. This has crippled me over the years personally because I've started different brands and I've asked the
Mhm.
Lord, is this what I should be doing? Is this the future I'm fighting for? And a lot of times it comes back no. So I will say this. If you have no budget, but you have a great product, service, and message, whether it's a book, whether it's a ministry, an organization,
Mhm.
think of it like this. Is this what I want? Is this the future I'm fighting for the next 5 years?
Mm.
Am I going to give everything in my ecosystem, my time, my resources, my friend, like I'm going to ignore everything as best I can and focus on this
Mhm.
for the next 5 years.
Mm.
If it's no, then it's no.
Yeah.
If it's, you know what, I can focus on it for the next 3 months, don't do it. If it's for the
Okay.
next year, don't do
Yeah.
it. If it's, you know what, I think I can make this work in 2 years, don't do it. It's 3 to 5 years to
Okay.
stand up, whatever it is you're gonna stand up. And that's hard, man.
Yeah.
That's really hard. I'm gonna put my family on the back burner. I'm gonna put everything, and I'm gonna focus on this for the next 3 to 5 years. That's the real testament. Now, will you actually put your family on the back burner? Probably not.
Yeah.
You can't do that. But the
Yeah.
idea of it, the idea
Yeah.
of like, I'm gonna focus is what I'm trying to
Yeah.
get my point across here.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really good. So when somebody is thinking about ads,
Yeah.
what do they need to have like ducks in a row in order to hire an agency like yours? Or do they just come to you and say, "I have a budget, but I have 0 knowledge of what to do next?"
I think the more you struggle with your messaging, the better it is when they bring it to us
Okay.
versus nothing. I mean, I've worked with nothing and I've worked with, parts of it. I think
Mhm.
agencies have a way of doing things and you've got to fall in line with that,
Yeah.
and let them do it and feel comfortable that they're your trusted partner in this
Mhm.
endeavor.
Mhm.
If they're, I would say this, like when we pull reports, I've purposely not allowed my staff to just automate reports
Mm.
because nobody reads them. And a lot of times the client doesn't know how to read them either. So if the agency is just automating reports and saying, well, we checked the box, we sent you a report. And the reason we don't automate them is because we need to read them too. We
Yeah.
need to slow down and understand what they say so that we can give you good advice.
That's really good.
And so I would say if you're looking for an agency, find out if they automate their reports or if they actually read them. And here's the other thing too, like I've learned over the years that marketing really never gets out of toddler stage. For those that have kids, the toddlers for me is like the Tommy Touch-all stage,
Yeah. Yeah.
where they have to touch everything and they're right at eye
Yep.
level and they're just,
Yep.
and you have to watch them. You have to watch them because they might pull something on them like a glass or something and smack, and they might get injured.
Mhm.
And so marketing never gets out of Tommy Touch-all stage. You have
That's
to
good.
watch your stuff. Somebody's
That's
got to
really
watch it. If it ain't you, it's got to be someone. So Google
yeah.
Analytics, we talked about ROI, your KPIs, looking at the website, getting feedback from the client, donor, first time guest, whatever it is, like constantly staying in front of it and learning. It's never set it and forget it. It's
It's
never that.
good. It's really, really good. So, controversial question maybe. Do you
Yeah.
guys use AI at all in your business? And if so, how do you use it?
Yes, we use it. And it's not controversy for us. I feel like, I give this analogy to clients, when Ford came out with the Model T,
Mhm.
the car, right? Everybody was riding horses.
Yeah.
Think about that. And the car came along and somebody said, I'm never gonna drive that car. Horses are
Right.
the way.
Yeah.
And we look at, history throughout of modern technology advancing us, and you can't stop the AI engine now.
Mhm.
I think there's a really good area where you say, I want it to look real. I want to use real people and, I don't want to use AI people. I think that's a really good hard stop on it.
Yeah.
To say, okay, I want to do a photo shoot. I want this to be real. If you have the budget and the time to do that, then fine. But think about the smartest people, 10 of the smartest people in the world in the room, and you're not going to go in that room and ask them a question.
Right. Yeah.
It's the smartest people, not in any subject, your subject.
Mhm.
and you're not gonna use that? I mean,
Yeah.
you can still ride your horse to work, but everybody's driving a car, man.
So good. And so true. So true. It's,
Yeah.
yeah, I get varied answers when I pose the AI question, so it's good that you guys use it in a responsible way, that you know what you can use it for and what needs to still be hands-on. I think that's really important. I see it, too often, people choose to use it for things that they shouldn't be using it for, and it
Mhm.
does not yield good results.
Yeah.
It's not
I
good.
think I think the world is changing, at least for now, that, we're moving to a project management type person who
Mhm.
understands, here's what the client needs.
Yeah.
Here's where we need to go. Now, what tool do we need to get there? I mean, I really don't look at it any different. Like, I look at graphic design. If you came, Jan, and said, "Hey, I need you to design this poster," you don't care if I use Photoshop or InDesign. You could care
Right.
less. You want to
Yeah.
know that Dave heard me, Dave understands me, and I trust him to deliver. I don't see it any different, whether you use Photoshop or After Effects or Final Cut or Premiere. It's the same thing. We know the tool to get us where we need to go.
Yeah. So good. So good. So as we wrap up here, if somebody is looking at their marketing,
Hmm.
their overall brand, and thinking that they need to make some changes, what would you say to them?
There's one question I love to ask that you really have to think about. And for us to build an organization, Christian or not, you have to really wrestle, I think, with this question in a way that only you can answer. And the question is, what is the future you're fighting for?
Mm. Mhm.
Because in order to make it work, it's a fight, man. It's a battle. It's an everyday Ephesians 6, put on the armor of God and the breastplate of righteousness and go out there and conquer the world.
Yeah.
The target is moving so fast right now that you got to be willing to fight. And if you're not willing to fight for what you want, and it's kind of a half baked idea, you're just not going to make it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
It's really good.
answer the question. Are you fighting for your family? Are you fighting for your marriage? Are you fighting for your position? Like, what are you really fighting for, honestly?
Mhm. So good. So
Yeah.
good. Well, tell people how they can find you, how they can work with you. I don't think we talked much about your agency and what you actually do. So give a rundown on that because you guys do a lot.
Yeah. Well, so we're a Christian advertising agency. We're located in Raleigh, North Carolina. We're very much digital strategic consultants and advisors, and we place a lot of media per month and we manage that media, in terms of, are the KPIs positive? One thing I really like to say is I'm launching my book like next week. I've been working on this for a year. It's called Plan the Win.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, Plan the Win, how to manage your fear, lust, anger, pride while building your Christian organization. Super excited about this. I've put all the chips in, going back to 1994 when I started my journal, all the way through my company. It's very story driven, but it's also very applicable driven on what is what is in our way. As a sports guy, if I know what the other team does really well that's standing across from me, we can
Mhm.
do some research and we can kind of counter their whatever it is if they're fast or they're strategic.
Right.
And so I've looked at these toxic motivators pretty in detail of fear, lust, anger, pride. And this is sort of the adversary's way of distracting us from our God given
Mm.
vision.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So we will absolutely link the book down in the
Awesome.
show notes. Do you is it in pre-sale right now or is it like it will be available by the time this episode goes live?
And it'll be available in the time this episode goes live. And you can
That's
see it.
amazing.
You can get it to planthewintoday.com. There's an assessment there to
Oh, great.
assess your four toxic motivators, and then a link to the Amazon link on the webpage.
That is fantastic. Well, we will link all of that in the show notes. Y'all go get his book. That sounds like an I will I know that I will that sounds something that's drawing to me, so I will definitely
Awesome.
be doing that.
Well, I'll send you a
Thank you.
signed coffee for sure.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. This has been a really great conversation. I know that people are gonna have some eye-opening aha moments. So, thank you so much.